I will be reading Uncle Monday by Zora Neale Hurston. I thought this story was really well written, as I feel like Zora Neale Hurston is one of the best writers, anthropologists, women, Black woman, warrior. Wow, I really admire this woman. Now, ancestor. I'm just going to read a portion of Uncle Monday, and it's called Aunt Judy Bickerstaff. Uncle Monday wasn't the only hoodoo doctor around there. There was Aunt Judy Bickerstaff. She was there before the coming of Uncle Monday. Of course, it didn't take long for professional jealousy to arise. Uncle Monday didn't seem to mind Aunt Judy, but she resented him, and she couldn't hide her feelings. This was natural when you consider that before his coming, she used to make all the hams around there, but he soon drew off the greater part of the trade. Year after year, this feeling kept up. Every now and then, some little incident would accentuate the rivalry. Monday was sitting on top of the heap, but Judy was not without her triumphs. Finally, she began to say that she could reverse anything that he put down. She said she could not only reverse it, she could throw it back on him, let alone his client. Nobody talked to him about her boasts. People never talked to him except on business anyway. Perhaps Judy felt safe in her boasting for this reason. Then one day she took in her head to go fishing. Her children and grandchildren tried to discourage her. They argued with her about her great age and her stiff joints. But she had her grandson to fix her a trout pole and a bait pole and set out for Blue Sink, a lake said to be bottomless by the villagers. Furthermore, she didn't set out till near sundown. She didn't want any company. It was no use talking. She felt that she just must go fishing in Blue Sink. She didn't come home when dark came, and her family worried a little, but they reasoned that she had probably stopped at one of her friends' houses to rest and gossip, so they didn't go to hunt for her right away. But when the night wore on and she didn't return, the children were sent out to locate her. She was not in the village. A party was organized to search Blue Sink for her. It was after 9 o'clock at night when the party found her. She was in the lake, lying in shallow water and keeping her old head above the water by supporting it on her elbow. Her son Ned said that he saw a huge alligator dive away as he shined the torch upon his mother's head. They bore Aunt Judy home and did everything they could for her. Her legs were limp and useless, and she never spoke a word, not a coherent word, for 3 days. It was more than a week before she could tell how she came to be in the lake. She said that she hadn't really wanted to go fishing. The family in the village could witness that she never had fooled around the lakes. But that afternoon, she had to go. She couldn't say why, but she knew she must go. She baited her hooks and stood waiting for a bite. She was afraid to sit down on the damp ground on account of her rheumatism. She got no bites. When she saw the sun setting, she wanted to come home, but somehow she just couldn't leave the spot. She was afraid, terribly afraid, down there on the lake, but she couldn't leave. When the sun was finally gone and it got dark, she said she felt a threatening, powerful evil all around her. She was fixed to the spot. A small but powerful whirlwind arose right under her feet. Something terrific struck her, and she fell into the water. She tried to climb out, but found that she could not use her legs. She thought of gators and otters and leeches and garfish and began to scream, thinking maybe somebody would hear her and come to her aid. Suddenly, a bar of red light fell across the lake from one side to the other. It looked like a fiery sword. Then she saw Uncle Monday walking across the lake to her along this flaming path. On either side of the red road swam thousands of alligators, like an army behind this general. The light itself was awful. It was red, but she never had seen any red like it before. It jumped and moved all the time, but always it pointed straight across the lake to where she lay helpless in the water. The lake is nearly a mile wide, but Aunt Judy says Uncle Monday crossed it in less than a minute and stood over her. She closed her eyes from fright, but she saw him right on through her lids. After a brief second, she screamed again. Then he howled and leaped at her. "Shut up," he snarled. "Part your lips just one more time, and it will be your last breath. Your bragging tongue has brought you here, and you're going to stay here until you acknowledge my power. So you can throw back my work, eh? I put you in this lake. Show your power and get out. You will not die, and you will not leave this spot until you give consent in your heart that I am your master. Help will come the minute you knuckle under." She fought against him. She felt that once she was before her own altar, she could show him something. He glowered down upon her for a spell and then turned and went back across the lake the way he had come. The light vanished behind his feet. Then a huge alligator slid up beside her where she lay trembling, and all her strength went out of her. She lost all confidence in her powers. She began to feel if only she might either die or escape from the horror, she would never touch another charm again. If only she could escape the maw of the monster beside her. Any other death but that. She wished that Uncle Monday would come back so that she might plead with him for deliverance. She opened her mouth to call, but found that speech had left her. She saw a light approaching by land. It was the rescue party. Aunt Judy never did regain the full use of her legs, but she got to the place where she could hobble about the house and yard. After relating her adventure on Lake Blue Sink, she never called the name of Uncle Monday again. The rest of the village, always careful in that respect, grew almost as careful as she. But sometimes when they would hear the great bull gator that everybody knows lives in Lake Bell bellowing on cloudy nights, some will point the thumb in the general direction of Uncle Monday's house and whisper, "The old boy is visiting the home folks tonight." Now, I'm going to read some more about Uncle Monday, but I'm going to have to break it up because it's so much of it. And I think I may lose your attention. But Uncle Monday seems like a pretty interesting character. He was a hoodoo doctor. Oh, wow. Now, Zora Neale Hurston talked a lot about hoodoo doctors and hoodoo in general. Voodoo, hoodoo, all of that. And I don't know, I was always drawn to her. And I didn't really, know anything about hoodoo growing up, but I was always attracted to how she used to write about it. And I think after I read about hoodoo in Zora Neale Hurston's books, it led me to Jambalaya. That is another book I have. I will read some more about Uncle Monday in my next episode. Thank you for listening.